The bloodiest Marvel event ever. The skies have gone dark, the sun hiding its face from the carnage to come. The children of the night, the vampires, have risen from the dark and hidden place of the world as one to drown the Marvel universe in blood. Earth's final night has fallen. Can even the heroes of this doomed world stem the tide of blood that is to come? Join the Avengers, Blade, Bloodline, Spider-Man, Hunter's Moon, Tigra, Doctor Strange, and Clea as the dance of death begins in Blood Hunt. Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 1. The skies have gone dark, and the children of the night, the vampires, rise up to seize everything. Their first target, the Avengers. As the sun goes out, we witness the darkening of dark force users all over the globe, their powers igniting. This is how the world ends. This is my work. This has always been my work. And after so very long, I will complete it. Scarlet Witch is in New York, where she observes Marcus Daniels, who is known as Blackout, releasing every bit of his dark force into the sky. The dark force spreads across the skies, a phenomenon occurring worldwide. All dark force users are transforming into portals to the dark force dimension as the sun vanishes. Darkstar, Dusk, Silhouette, and Cloak, all dark force users are transforming into portals to the dark force dimension. Unfortunately, this is not something Scarlet Witch can simply patch up. We pick up with Hunter's Moon and Tigra reaching the same conclusion as Scarlet Witch and Iron Man. This isn't an isolated situation. It's happening across not only cities, but the whole planet Earth. The darkening of the skies hides the suns and the moons. Hunter's Moon says this isn't a mishap. This isn't an accident. It's an attack. Vampires. The vampires are taking over every city on Earth, killing thousands in the process. This is a major purge of people, beginning from Milan, Italy, then to Lagos, Nigeria, followed by Calgary, Canada. The vampires leave blood everywhere and cause destruction in the cities. We follow the devastation to China, Colombia, and finally South Korea. Interesting, the borders of Latveria, the country of Doctor Doom, remain secure as no vampire has crossed into the Latvian area. Many questions arise as the Avengers battle the vampires across different countries. Thor questions where all these vampires have come from. Captain Marvel wonders who's behind this and who they're fighting. Black Panther is uncertain, while Vision raises the possibility of Dracula, who is currently unaccounted for. Captain America doubts it's Dracula, as this doesn't fit his usual pattern. Scarlet Witch questions, then who? Meanwhile, as the Avengers fight the vampires, an alert comes over the communication line. Blade reveals that he's on the run but possesses crucial information. He urges the Avengers to lock onto his coordinates and teleport his entire rig to the impossible city. With all the Avengers convening there, they aim to decipher Blade's intel. Time is of the essence as hordes of foes flood the streets, demanding their swift return to battle. As the rig is teleported in, it's not Blade inside, but emerging from the back are the members of the Blood Covenant, including Megrim, Cruel and Unusual, Damascene, Smoke Eater, and Bloodstorm 1. Each one of those individuals counters one of the Avengers. While Bloodstorm 1 leads the group, he is not the mastermind behind their actions. They are called ultra vampires, feeding on the blood of superheroes or superscripts. This battle between the Avengers and the Blood Covenant has been planned for a long time, with the Blood Covenant devising numerous strategies to defeat the Avengers. Damascene possesses the power to cut through anything and initiates the fight by targeting the God of Thunder. He can potentially kill any of the Avengers. Then Damascene throws a spike at Vision, capable of cutting through even intangible synthesized molecules. Cruel and Unusual is a creature that consumes spirits, incapacitating Scarlet Witch by devouring her spirit. Bloodstorm 1 throws Black Panther at Captain America. Megrim neutralizes Iron Man by infiltrating his suit with something extremely painful. Smoke Eater grabs Captain Marvel's head and forcefully slams it into the ground. Bloodstorm 1 engages Captain America with the intent to turn him into a vampire, aiming to make him a symbol for their cause. However, Black Panther intervenes, using a spear to remove Black Storm 1 from Captain America. Meanwhile, Thor finds himself under relentless attack, sustains severe injuries, and Scarlet Witch exhausts her magical powers in an attempt to combat the cruel and unusual to no avail. Smoke Eater reveals that his power comes from consuming other superheroes, and he threatens to drink Captain Marvel's strength and use it for a special occasion. Meanwhile, Iron Man's suit is dangerously compromised as the battle intensifies. Damascene prepares to finish off Thor, who is covered in spikes and blood. In a shocking turn of events, Damascene utilizes his formidable power to cut through anything and impales Thor's eye with a spike, the force of which pierces through his head. Thor collapses to the ground, incapacitated, as well as all the Avengers find themselves overwhelmed and on the floor. With Black Panther also down, Black Storm 1 advances menacingly towards him, posing a dire threat to the fallen heroes. As Captain America rises to his feet, Black Panther stands beside him, initiating the emergency code for the Avengers to retreat. In a selfless act, Black Panther sacrifices himself to ensure the team's escape. He takes a devastating blow to the chest, followed by Bloodstorm 1 shattering his back with a knee strike. Despite the pain, T'Challa declares that they can't let the villains take the symbol because the world still needs a symbol to rally behind. In the books of the Avengers, Captain America and Black Panther were depicted as having a difference of opinion and not liking each other. However, T'Challa's sacrifice for Captain America raises questions about the true nature of their relationship and whether this act of selfishness by the Black Panther will change Captain America. Whether they are truly dead or if they are hidden agendas at play remains to be unseen, leaving renders of intrigue by the possibility of deeper consequences and conspiracies within the Blood Hunt. What is the plan of the Master for these fallen Avengers? Blade decided to visit the Sanctuary to seek out Doctor Strange's assistance. Meanwhile, Doctor Strange is diligently researching a spell aimed at eradicating all vampires on Earth. However, he acknowledges the need for insights from Blade regarding the current situation. The vampires responsible for the series of attacks are known as the Structure, and although Moon Knight had previously killed their leader, they have now been replaced by an even more malevolent leader with grander ambitions. This new generation of ultra vampires is a mirror version of the Avengers, but vampire. They also feed on the blood of superscripts and possess enhanced magical ability, making them formidable adversaries. Blade actually questions Doctor Strange's plan to wipe out all the vampires on Earth for a number of reasons. He would need the use of the Darkhold, a magical evil book that has been lost ever since the Scarlet Witch consumed the book. A moral quandary arises regarding the notion of exterminating all vampires on Earth. This raises the question of whether it's justified to eradicate even the good vampires who don't deserve to die simply because of their atrocities committed by the Structure. Meanwhile, Doctor Strange ponders how Blade possesses such extensive knowledge about the Structure's plan. The answer becomes apparent. Blade himself is the new leader of the Structure. In a bid to defeat a villain, Blade consumed some of Dracula's blood, which granted him incredible new abilities, but also drove him to madness. Do you want to know who put out the sun, who released the children of the night, who assembled the monsters who killed the Avengers? The leader of the Structure. It's me. In a shocking turn of events, Blade takes up his sword and drives it through the chest of Doctor Strange. This revelation adds complex layers to the unfolding conflict, blurring the lines between heroism and villainy. The hunt continues in Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 2. The darkness continues. Around the globe, superheroes with a connection to the Dark Force dimension simultaneously lost control of their powers. The eruption blacked out the sun, creating an eternal night, which allowed vampires everywhere to launch a coordinated attack against humanity. Earth's heroes did their best to protect the innocent and control the chaos. The Avengers were tricked into allowing the Blood Covenant, group of superpowered vampires, into the headquarters, the Impossible City. Fleeing, the Avengers were forced to leave a badly injured Thor, Black Panther, and Scarlet Witch in the hands of their new enemies. Blade, the vampire hunter, met with Doctor Strange and Clea at the Sanctum, revealing that he was the mastermind behind the vampire invasion and mortally wounding Doctor Strange. Blood Hunt, Volume Volume 1, Issue 2. At the Impossible City, Thor is hung up with a stake in the eye, his blood being drained. Scarlet Witch is devoured by her own spirit. Blade says we are secure here in the wondrous Impossible City, which monsters once more call home. Meanwhile, Black Panther T'Challa has been turned into a vampire. Black Panther has become a vicious and a strong vampire, but he cannot fight or hurt and just bows down to Blade. Then Blade says, now go, all of you. My new palace is secure, the earth is darkened, but I still want more. Panther, find me my prize, and the Blood Coven, find me the girl. The Blood Coven is searching for his daughter, Bloodline, as seen in the pages of Blood Hunt, Dracula. Number 1, Bloodline, the daughter of Blade, has just joined Dracula, Blade's oldest and most powerful enemy. Blade wants the Blood Coven to bring him his daughter. Meanwhile, in New York City, a family is about to be attacked by 3 vampires, but suddenly the head of one of the vampires is chopped off by Bloodline. Bloodline says, I don't think I have to ask you guys, what's it going to be? So the hard way it is. As the vampires head towards Bloodline, none other than Dracula takes them down. Dracula says, you are too important to all of this, Brielle, to risk your life for insignificance. I did not shepherd you all the way here from Atlanta. Brielle responds, these people are not insignificant. They are innocent. Dracula just wants to protect Bloodline. Just then, someone says, hello, Dracula, and hello, Brielle, Brooks, daughter of Blade. Who is it? Uptown New York. Tigra is attacking the vampires from above while Hunter's Moon is attacking the vampires on the ground. There are numerous vampires, but they are working very well together. Tigra says, that's the last one for now. Lock the door, bolted, barricaded, the works. We have to go find Doctor Strange. He's our best chance for dealing with this mess. Just then Miles Morales shows up and says, hey, did you say Doctor Strange? Spider-Man says, I'm the other Spider-Man. Wait, are you another Moon Knight? Miles Morales replies, I'm here to find Doctor Strange, but I don't know where he lives. Tigra says, are you serious? As they head off to find Doctor Strange, it's worth noting that in Blood Hunt Issue 1, Blade had a special mission for Miles Morales. We now pick up from a tie-in with the pages of Doctor Strange Issue 15. Miles Morales seems like he doesn't know where Doctor Strange lives. As Tigra knocks on the door, astral plane Doctor Strange greets the 3 heroes. Tigra wants to know how they're going to battle the vampires and says, you think maybe you should be getting some defenders together or something? Dr. Stephen Strange explains, I'm in astral form due to some complications with my corporeal self. Clea Strange is holding the vampire Doctor Strange. As we know from the tie-in Doctor Strange issue 15, also Doctor Strange astral form brother Victor Strange is looking to assume the body of vampire Stephen Strange. As you probably guessed, the Blood Coven has come through the portal to get Blade's daughter. Dracula recognizes the Blood Coven and declares, I am Vlad Tepes Dracula, Lord of all vampires, and you will kneel. We find out that Bloodstorm is a clone and has grown significantly. Bloodstorm responds, false Lord, false King. We serve the true Lord. We serve the true philosopher. Our kind, a lord of monsters, a philosophy of the same. Just then the remaining Avengers, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Iron Man, and Vision join the fight. Captain Marvel says, here's our philosophy. We have a lot to avenge. The Blood Coven just laughs. This time the Avengers are prepared for the Blood Coven. It starts with Megrim and Vision, who whisks Megrim up into the air. Vision says, my synthetic brain is close enough to a human's for your powers to work on me, but I can cycle my own brain patterns too quickly for you to lock onto. So Megrim cannot use his powers on Vision because he's cycling his brain patterns too quickly. Clearly, Megrim is in trouble. With Megrim out of the battle, Captain Marvel hits Bloodstorm hard. Vision is taking Megrim miles above where there's a glimpse of the sun. Megrim looks to be evaporated. Then Captain America throws his shield at Smoke Eater, putting an end to any plan she had. Captain America says, you're going to pay for the Panther. The next battle is Iron Man versus Cruel. As Cruel beat Iron Man the first time around, this time Cruel, who can cut through anything, cannot get through an oscillating magnetic field. Cruel is taken out of the picture, but behind Iron Man is Damascene, is ready to attack Iron Man. But surprisingly, Damascene's hand is cut off by a light beam. It's the Vision, filled with solar power and energy. This really puts the Avengers on top. Meanwhile, Captain Marvel throws Bloodstorm into the Snake Eater. The Avengers have completely wiped the floor with the Blood Coven. Captain Marvel then blasts through the shield and the sun gets through Vision. Captain Marvel then blasts through the Darkhold shield and the sun gets through. Vision brought the solar power and Captain Marvel broke a hole through the shield. There stands Captain Marvel in the center, Iron Man to her side, Vision, Captain America, Dracula, and Bloodline. With a beam of sunlight from the broken Darkhold shield, Captain Marvel says, "We're still the Avengers," and that means no matter how dark the night, we make sure the sun will rise again. The whole Blood Coven cannot take the brightness of the sun, much less the Avengers, Dracula, and Bloodline. The Blood Coven falls back into the portal, promising that they will be back next time. Captain America is ready for revenge for Black Panther, but Captain Marvel holds him back, saying, "We'll save our friends." Bloodline looks to Iron Man for help to get somewhere. The place Dracula and Bloodline need to get to is Greenwich Village to see Doctor Strange. There's not much time as Doctor Strange is gathering forces. As Bloodline walks into the room, she sees Miles Morales' Spider-Man and says, "Finally, someone I know." But suddenly a trigger happens when Bloodline, the daughter of Blade, comes close to Miles Morales, Spider-Man. He says, "Run!" Bloodline is unaware that Blade is the leader of the structure, the leader of the Blood Coven, or that he has committed other villainous actions. When she approached Miles Morales' Spider-Man, he turned into Vampire Spider-Man. Suddenly, Miles rips off his mask, revealing that he has become a vampire. Miles Morales is now a vampire. Next, Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 3. The darkness continues. Led by Blade, a group of vampires use the dark force to blot out the sun, creating an eternal night and unleashing violence upon the world. Blade and the Blood Coven, a group of superpowered vampires, also launch an attack on the Avengers, capturing several members of the team, transforming Black Panther into a vampire and seizing control of the Impossible City, the Avengers' orbital headquarters. The remaining Avengers align themselves with Dracula and Blade's vampire hunting daughter Bloodline. Along with Tigra, Hunter's Moon, and Spider-Man, the group made their way to Doctor Strange's sanctum to seek his aid. Strange remained trapped in an astral form, his physical body having been grievously wounded by Blade during an earlier attack. But before the heroes could formulate a plan, Spider-Man began transforming into a vampire. Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 3, The First Blasphemy. At the Impossible City lair of the Lord of all Vampires, Blade, Black Panther finds what Blade sent him after, buried deep under Wakanda. These events involve Black Panther searching for the Temple of the First Blasphemy. The temple has been beneath the earth in Wakanda since the fall of old Atlantis. Blade says, "Then you know what to do. Have the city spin up its mass translocation drives and bring it to me." The Scarlet Witch taunts Blade, saying, "With one less Blood Coven member, that means the Avengers have won this battle. This is the second battle, and their eyes are open to the truth. The Blood Coven feeds off the strongest blood for their strength. As you know, the blood of a god, Hulk, or superheroes is stronger and makes the vampires even more powerful." At the Sanctum Sectorium, Miles Morales, now turned, launches his first attack on Blade's daughter Bloodline. He chases after her, but Vision grabs him. However, Miles quickly retaliates with a spider blast. Bloodline begs Spider-Man, "Don't make me." Clea uses the crimson badge of Cyttorak to hold Spider-Man, and then Doctor Strange employs the Eye of Agamotto to show him the truth. Miles Morales says, "I'm back," as he somehow regains his senses, though he is still a vampire. He asks Brielle, "Are you okay?" Miles Morales continues, "Oh no, he told me to hunt for her, and I had to. I couldn't fight it." The message from Blood Hunt Issue 1, where Blade was speaking to Miles Morales, was Blade turning him into a vampire with a switch when he saw Bloodline. He could not control himself, Doctor Strange says. "You're not alone, Spider-Man. He came to us as a friend, and then he struck. Now I also bear his curse." Doctor Strange is a vampire and is also in his astral plane form, where Clea took out in Doctor Strange Issue 5. So there are two Doctor Stranges. The vampire human human Doctor Strange and the astral plane Doctor Strange. Brielle, also known as Bloodline and the daughter of Blade, does not know who has been orchestrating all of this. Captain Marvel says, "You don't know?" Doctor Strange adds, "You didn't tell her?" Dracula, "Surely you know who's responsible for all this." Dracula responds, "How do you think that conversation would have gone, Strange? Come with me, child. In order to save the world, you must strike down your father, the new Lord of Vampires, Blade." Bloodline is shocked to learn that her father is the new leader of the vampires. Dracula then says, "Yes, child, your father, Eric Brooks, known as Blade, has led his Legion of the Night to take over the world. He has engineered the darkening of the skies, broken the mighty Avengers, and now you are all that's left to stop him. This is why your father has unleashed a blood hunt upon you." Dracula continues, "As your bloodline, you represent his only weakness. Only you or his hand could strike him down. Dracula has brought Brielle from Atlanta to the front lines of the war to kill her father." Brielle does not believe her dad is that crazy. Tigger jumps in and says, "And we're supposed to believe you're on our side, Dracula, president of the vampire nation?" Dracula replies, "If you please." And that is exactly what you're supposed to believe, because it is the truth. My vampire nation is precisely that, a nation, one that I have bled to build, one that will fall like all the human nations if we do not stop Blade. So Dracula and the Dracula nation are aligned to stop Blade, because Blade will kill the vampire nation. Hunter's Moon says, "Enough. The world is dying and we argue. Save it until we save everyone." Doctor Strange agrees and says, "It appears to me the crisis involves three vectors: the dark force stealing the sun, the vampires rampaging, and Blade." Then suddenly everyone wonders where Brielle is. She ran off. Miles Morales feels for Brielle and tells Dracula, "Tell her that she has to strike down her dad and expect her to believe you." "Shut up, Lord of Vampires. I've got to go look for her." Miles Morales goes after Brielle, followed by Dracula, who says, "I will not let my only hope of victory just run away." The story of Brielle running off will be picked up in the tie-in series of Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 21 and Dracula Blood Hunt issue 2. As Doctor Strange calls out for Dracula and Spider-Man not to go, Clea says, "We do not have time to chase after them. Stefan, it is probably a good idea that Miles Morales and Dracula are going after Bloodline, because Blade will throw everything at her, get her. Doctor Strange in astral form will get aid for the Dark Force. Tigra and Hunter's Moon will raise an army that the vampires cannot kill, turn, or terrify, but they too require one more person. This leads to Avengers who will handle Blade and the Blood Coven. The problem is that he is safe in the Impossible City, and he has Thor, Wanda, and T'Challa up there with him. Sam Wilson, Captain America, says we have to draw him out. So the plan is set. Clea sends Tigra, Hunter's Moon, and one of the other to a far, far away place. Doctor Strange and Clea then disappear. The remaining Avengers will not wait. Captain Marvel says, "We're the Avengers. We have to tell the people of our world that they're not alone, that they can't give up. We need to give them hope, and we need to dare Blade to come down and break that hope." Captain Marvel wants to broadcast around the whole earth and asks Tony, "Can you do it?" Tony replies, "All of them." Captain Marvel says, "Then set up a broadcast. Sam, you're up." Sam Wilson, Captain America, replies, "Me? But you're the chairperson." Captain Marvel responds, "Yeah, but you're the icon. And this is what T'Challa saved for." As Iron Man plugged in an auto translation for Sam Wilson, Captain America prepares to give a speech. In an iconic scene, Sam Wilson, Captain America, inspires hope. "I am Sam Wilson, Captain America, speaking for the Avengers. Things are bad, I know, like all of you. You've been fighting the vampires since the sun went out. Like all of you, you've been hurt and we've bled, have lost. But we've been here before. We're still here. This world has seen evil time and time again. Aliens, monsters, tyrants, madmen, those who had taken our homes, our freedom, our lives. And every time the people of Earth told them no." As Sam Wilson gives his speech in Halifax, they raise their arms against the vampires. In the Impossible City, Blade is furious. In Manhattan, Bloodline is running. As Sam Wilson, Captain America, continues his speech, "When the Katati came here, we told them no. When Null came here, we told them no. When Hydra took over, we told them no. When Galactus came here, we told him no." In Mexico City, they raise their arms in solidarity. Meanwhile, Tigra, Hunter's Moon, and a mystery man are in Asgard. In Latveria, Doctor Strange and Clea visit Doctor Doom. Even as a vampire and even before turning, Black Panther had his challenges with Sam. T'Challa says, "Very good, Sam," offering encouragement. "If you want our home, we'll have to fight for it. If you want our world, you'll have to take it. If you want our blood, you'll pay for every drop. And if you take our lives, we will be avenged. We will avenge the dead. We will protect the living, because those Those are the things we owe you when we call ourselves Avengers. Things are bad, but as long as we breathe, as long as we have hope in our hearts, we will tell the vampires the same thing we told the others. No, we're still here. We'll win like we've won all those times before. Just hold on until the sun shines again, because it will. Captain America out. Iron Man successfully translated and broadcasted Sam Wilson's Captain America's powerful speech. It mirrored the same speech that T'Challa and Sam Wilson delivered to the Impossible City not long ago in Avengers 51. Sam Wilson continues to appeal to the transformed Black Panther, hoping he can still recognize reason. Captain Marvel expresses uncertainty about whether this strategy will lure Blade out of the Impossible City. She senses that this Blade is different, not the cool, calculated Blade they know, but someone else wearing his skin. Blade is anything but cool as he screams, "Panther, plans have changed. Retarget the mass translocation drives. Your friends have decided they will not simply lie down and die," which I could forgive, but they had the audacity to try to inspire hope in this doomed world, and that I cannot countenance. Not when my triumph is at hand. Blade, uncharacteristically not himself, rounds up the Blood Coven and tells Panther to send the Temple of the First Blasphemy to another location. At Central Park in New York City, Blade declares, "From the caves of Wakanda to New York City, which will serve as the grave of the Avengers, I will drop my great prize unseen in the city since the days of old Atlantis upon their city. The Temple of the First Blasphemy will be their tombstone." This ominous structure has appeared in Central Park and will clearly be an obstacle for the heroes of Earth. Next, Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 4. Who is the real villain in Blood Hunt? You're not Blade, are you? No, I am something much greater, and I will become greater still, Black Panther. This has always been the plan. Do you see? This has always been the work. Thousands upon thousands of years ago, what was begun with a crime against the universe will see completion here and now. And when I was born for the second time in a stone sarcophagus, drowned in blood, what are you? The first Black Panther, the first vampire, my nomad spirit clothed in my faded vessel, the Daywalker skin. I am Varnae, quote, Black Panther and Blade, Eric Brooks, possessed by Varnae, identity revealed. The darkness continues, led by Blade. A group of vampires use the dark force to blot out the sun, creating an eternal night and unleashing violence upon the world. Blade and the Blood Coven, a group of superpowered vampires, also launched an attack on the Avengers, capturing several members of the team, transforming the Black Panther into a vampire and seizing control of the Impossible City, the Avengers' orbital headquarters. His physical self struck down by Blade and infected with vampirism, Doctor Strange's astral form and Clea departed for Latveria, seeking help, with Hunter's Moon and Tigra left for Asgard to execute their plan to defeat Blade. Blade then translocated the ancient Atlantean Temple of the First Blasphemy from its undersea resting place in Wakanda to the middle of Central Park. Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 4. Dr. Doom says the Temple of the First Blasphemy in New York City. It would appear that things are going very badly indeed. The Avengers are broken. The Sorcerer Supreme is apparition. And New York City now has an ancient Atlantean temple as part of its skyline. I suppose things must be going very badly. This fortress is called the Temple of First Blasphemy and was previously located in Atlantis. Blade and his Blood Coven transport the temple to New York City, from which they will control the many legions of vampires spread all over the globe. Among those vampires are some of the Marvel's greatest superheroes, including Black Panther. Blade and his Blood Coven established the Temple of First Blasphemy in New York City, unleashing vampires upon the earth, including Marvel heroes. The temple is a dark reflection of the Avengers Tower, symbolizing doom and eternal fear, a monument of the vampire's greatest victory. Blade and his Blood Coven have secured a fortress that they've erected in the heart of New York City, forever altering the iconic skyline in the darkest way possible. The Avengers Tower stood as a reminder to the citizens of New York City, and indeed the planet, that the world was under the protection of the Earth's mightiest heroes. Anytime someone glanced at the building from the street or saw it along the New York City skyline from afar, they knew they were safe. While the building itself was just a building, one from which the Avengers rarely even operated, it stood as a pillar of hope for the entire planet. Everything that is good about the Avengers Tower and what it represents in the world is exactly why the Temple of the First Blasphemy is the exact opposite. If the temple is a pillar of anything, it's one of doom. It stands as a grim reminder that the inhabitants of the planet Earth will never see the sun again and are destined to live the rest of their lives as vampires' prey, lives of the perpetual fear and violence. As we go to Latveria, we see Doctor Strange and Clea seeking aid from Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom's country is protected by magic, and he himself is a master of magic. He also knows something that Doctor Strange does not, who the real villain is and who is using Blade as a vessel. Doctor Doom revels in the fact that Doctor Strange is asking for help. We go back to the Temple of First Blasphemy. Blade says, "Finally, do you have any idea how long it's been since I walked these stones, T'Challa? When we first built it, you should have seen it." Black Panther responds, "You're not Blade, are you?" Blade replies, "No, I am something much greater, and I will become greater still." The vessel, using Blade's body, says, "This has always been the plan. Do you see? This has always been the work of thousands upon thousands of years. What was begun with a crime against the universe will see completion here and now. When I was born for the second time in the stone sarcophagus, drowned in blood." Black Panther screams out, "What are you?" The first Black Panther, the first vampire, the nomad spirit closed all my fated vessels. The Daywalkers feared. I am Varnae. It is Varnae who has been puppeteering Blade. The history of Varnae. Varnae was a sorcerer in ancient Atlantis. His mates in the Dark Holders cult used the Dark Hold to turn him into Earth's first vampire. Varnae killed the cultists when they tried to use him against King Kull and became vampire lord. Atlantis sinking was not the end for Varnae. He entered hibernation for thousands of years. The vampire lord awoke in the Hyperion Age and fought the likes of Conan the Barbarian, Red Sonja, and Zula until the later's magic forced him to retreat. Millennia later in ancient Samaria, the sorceress Amshad helped Varnae craft a magic spell that could greatly enhance vampiric powers. However, Amshad tricked Varnae, ensuring that the spell could only be cast every 2,000 years on vampires' home soil, a soil long since gone in Varnae's case. The Lord of the Vampires used his powers to raise Atlantis from the ocean as the Christian era began. But again, Ashmed fooled his plans. In the modern era, at the centuries past, Varnae grew tired and seared Dracula, Vlad Tepes, as the new Lord of the Vampires after making him fight Nimrod to test him. Varnae then committed suicide by walking into the dawn. Skip to our days, voodoo priestess Marie Laveau needed vampiric blood to concoct a draught of the potion that suspended her aging. Thus, she used the Darkhold book to counter Doctor Strange's Montesi formula, which had been destroyed every vampire on Earth and prevented their future creation, and resurrected the Lord of the Vampires. However, while she expected Dracula, it was Varnae who returned. Doctor Doom talks about Varnae and says it's obvious if you merely think about it. Some years ago, his minion, Marie Laveau, prepared Blade as the host for the spirit of Varnae. Apparently, the Daywalker's unique constitution made him the ideal vessel. This happened in Blade, the Vampire Hunter 5. Doctor Doom continues, "That attempt failed, but it would appear that a second did not. I have taken precaution to protect my people and the borders. Now, what can I help you with, Stefan?" Doctor Strange and Clea have come to ask Doctor Strange's help to bring back the sun. If there's any hope of victory, the sun must return, and they seek aid with the Dark Force. Doctor Doom says, "I have precautions for the Dark Forces as well. It was only a matter of time. People have trifled with the Dark Fourth Dimension for far too long and far too lightly for someone like this to even remotely surprising." Doctor Doom then says a great assembly of mages is needed, beginning with Clea and Strange, a grand array of magical creatures brought together as one. When Doctor Strange offers to bring these magicians together, Doctor Doom says no need. From the pages of Blood Hunt, Strange Academy issue 2, Doctor Strange has brought the Academy kids to assemble magicians and mages. Doctor Doom says, "I've already taken the liberty of recruiting the student silent body of Strange Academy. Now, Stefan, give it to me and let us begin. Dr. Strange question, give you what? I don't follow, Victor. Dr. Doom replies, I should think you would understand this is an extraordinary work of magic we are speaking of casting here, and to extend it, I must be the Sorcerer Supreme. Dr. Doom wants the eye of Agamotto. We then transition over to Asgard, where Tigra, Hunter's Moon, and a mysterious figure are sneaking through the hallways. The unseen mystery man asks, don't the hero types usually ask nicely when they won something? Tigra responds, yes, but according to Avengers, Thor is currently down. We can't afford to ask nicely because the Asgardians might say no, and we don't have time to convince them. Tigra, Hunter's Moon, and a mystery man reach a massive vault. Hunter's Moon states that all pressure eventually collapses even for gods, and this is no different. He then greets his father, Khonshu, who has been imprisoned in the Asgard since attempting to take over the world in the 2018 Avengers storyline. Khonshu says, my loving son, so kind to visit your father, but foolish I fear. I have no power to lend you in my opening my cell, and you have no key for these locks. Hunter Moon replies, you are correct, father. I have no power to open this door and no key. They are in an Asgardian prison to break out Khonshu. Hunter Moon brought someone much better. He brought the Wrecker. Hunter Moon says, what better tool to open an Asgardian prison than an Asgardian crowbar? As the Wrecker gets to work on the prison door, we jump back to the temple of the first blasphemy, where Varnae is speaking to T'Challa. Varnae recounts his time in ancient Atlantis, where he transcribed the Darkhold, putting its bleak words to paper for the first time. It was there he took his first steps towards becoming what he wanted to be. Now, with the living Darkhold, the blood of a god, and a place of power in his possession, he is ready to complete his ritual. Creating the concept of the vampire was only the first step in his ritual. The vampire was only a pupil form. Varnae says, no, I was destined for something more. I was destined to be the end of all things. As Varnae drinks, the temple of the first blasphemy lights up. Varnae finally continues, come, I am ready. Come to me, dark force. Do you see? Do you see? I become one with the darkness, an entire dimension of darkness. I am the dark that consumes light, the cold that consumes warmth. I am a vampire that consumes entire planets, entire stars. I am becoming the unliving dark force. Varnae is not only looking to kill all of Earth, but the entire universe as well. Just as the power starts to flow through him, T'Challa points out a gigantic sphere of white light in the sky, a sphere of light that shouldn't be there. Everyone looks on in confusion. Varnae says, it can't be. In the middle of the night, in the darkness light, that is what I am. That is what I have always been. In the darkness, no matter where they may find themselves in the world, travelers by night see the face of Khonshu, and they know they are not alone. My dead rise from the slumber led to battle across the world, hands filled with the silver of my armories, warriors with no fear, no blood, no mercy. From these portals come Moon Knights. These Moon Knights are led by Khonshu's resurrected son, Mark Spector. Moon Knight. As Mark Spector, Moon Knight, emerges from the portal, he is followed by other Moon Knights ready to bring the battle to the vampires. Varnae is not happy with the Moon Knights, but he thinks it's too late for them to do any good. Due to the heart-shaped herb in Blood Hunt Black Panther, Varnae does not have 100% control over him. As Black Panther jumps to stab Blade, he is stopped by Varnae with dark magic. Varnae says, oh, Panther, defiance, impossible. Your blood is my own. Tell me how. Black Panther says, do you think Wakanda has never fought vampires? That's our gods have abandoned us? The heart-shaped herb was fighting my infection, healing me bit by bit. Varnae scoffs, ha, no matter. Far too little and widely too late. Do you really think you can kill me with this little blade? Black Panther responds, not really, no. I was just removing it so that the Thor might join us. Thor says, insult and injury I have suffered, and Thor will have his vengeance. Black Panther has removed the spike from Thor, thus releasing him for battle. Thor regains his composure, lightning and electricity starting to flow around him as a familiar voice sounds from the sky. It is Iron Man's voice, and he says, which is just a fancy talk for avenging. As Thor regenerates, he is joined by Captain America, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Vision, and an injured Black Panther as they prepare to take on Varnae. Varnae says, come then. Come and face the unliving dark force. So begins the battle between the Blood Coven and Varnae versus the Avengers. Next, Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 5. The darkness continues. Led by Blade, a group of vampires use the dark force to blot out the sun, creating an eternal night and unleashing violence upon the world. Blade and the Blood Coven, a group of superpowered vampires, also launch a devastating attack on the Avengers. Blade then dropped the ancient Atlantean temple of the first blasphemy upon Central Park and revealed that he is possessed by Varnae, the first vampire. Varnae merged with the dark forces, amplifying his powers. Varnae hunted for Blade's teenage daughter, Brielle Brooks, who has the potential to strike him down. Brielle allied herself with both Dracula and a vampirized Miles Morales Spider-Man. Doctor Strange, trapped in astral form, and Clea traveled to Latveria to seek Doctor Doom's mystical help in banishing the dark force. Doom agreed to aid them, but only if Strange abdicated the mantle of the Sorcerer Supreme to him. Meanwhile, Tigra and the Hunter's Moon freed Khonshu, god of the moon, from his prison in Asgard. With the moon restored, Khonshu unleashed a legion of his undead former fist, led by the resurrected Moon Knight, to battle the vampiric forces. Reunited and recovered, the Avengers confronted Varnae and the Blood Coven at the temple for a final battle. Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 5. In Latveria, Doctor Doom has just proposed taking the eye of Agamotto from Doctor Strange to save the world. Doctor Doom seeks to become the Sorcerer Supreme in order to win this battle because he alone possesses the knowledge of the ritual required to turn back the darkness. However, he cannot perform this ritual without the mantle of the Sorcerer Supreme. Doctor Doom says, I alone possess the knowledge of the ritual to turn back the darkness, but I cannot enact it without the mantle of the Sorcerer Supreme. I'm going to save the world, fulfilling the purpose of the Sorcerer Supreme. Doctor Strange responds, well done, Doom. You've outmaneuvered me at last. Tell me, did you engineer the entire crisis just for this moment? Has this all been your design? At Central Park, New York, the Avengers have assembled to fight against the Blood Coven. This is the final battle, the one that will determine everything, and so our heroes fight valiantly. The Blood Coven consists of Bloodstorm 1, Smoke Eater, Cruel, Unusual, and Damascene. The Avengers include Vision, Iron Man, Thor, Captain Marvel, Captain America, a vampire turned Black Panther, and the fallen Scarlet Witch. Vision shocks Unusual, forcing him to release the Scarlet Witch, who exclaims, finally free to take revenge. Blood Coven 1 grabs Black Panther, but Captain America intervenes. Despite their past conflicts, Black Panther, who has sacrificed himself to be turned into a vampire, is saved by the heart-shaped herb, which kept him from falling under Varnae's control. Moved by Captain America's iconic speech in an issue before, this inspired Black Panther to fight on. Thor says, Varnae, it has been over 1,000 years since you and I last met. It will be my pleasure to reintroduce you to Mjolnir after so long. The last time Thor encountered Varnae was in Marvel Comics Presents number 63 a long time ago. Varnae, who is controlling Blade's body, responds, Mjolnir remains in orbit. Thor, far away. Can I kill you before it arrives? Let us find out. God to God. As Thor summons the power of thunder, Varnae wields the power of the dark force, leading to an epic clash. Iron Man says to the Scarlet Witch, Wanda, cast the Montesi formula. The Scarlet Witch responds, no, Iron Man, the Montesi formula is indiscriminate. It cannot detect evil in her heart. I will not wipe out an entire people. I will not do that again, referring to her massacre of the mutants. As Bloodstorm 1 tears the hand from Vision, Wanda rushes to his aid. Bloodstorm 1 taunts, weakness. All of you Avengers are weak. This is why we are your betters. Your humanity prevents you from seizing victory. We left ours behind long ago. Back in Latveria, Doctor Doom says the Avengers have engaged Varnae and his creatures. Khonshu, the moon god, is dispatching his undead warriors across the globe to the vampires, but it will not be enough. Doctor Strange responds, you claim your aims are noble. Prove it. Prove that I can trust you with this power, that I've been wrong about you. I want your oath, Victor. I want your word that once the world is saved, you will return what is mine. Dr. Doom silently replies, "You have my word, the word of doom." Doctor Strange then says, "Very well," as Clea screams out, "Stefan, no." Doctor Strange says, "I have his word, Clea, and besides, he's right. This is what the Sorcerer Supreme is for. A fragment of my living soul will bond with yours, just as yours did when I died. Since I am currently among the undead, the office should transfer to you." Doctor Doom replies, "Ah, so that's how you did it. I always wonder." Clea asks, "Did it work?" Doctor Strange responds, "Yes. All hail the Sorcerer Supreme." In an iconic moment, Doctor Doom declares, "No, all hail Doom." Doctor Strange understands that this is what the Sorcerer Supreme is meant to do. This is why he gives a fragment of his living soul to bond with Doctor Doom, just as Clea did when he died. As he is currently among the undead, we now see Doctor Doom as the Sorcerer Supreme. In Manhattan, Bloodline and Dracula push through the hordes of vampires to get closer to the battle. Dracula taunts. He summoned a palace. Arrogance. Losing your nerve, Brielle? Have you forgotten your purpose already? Bloodline with determination responds, "After what we just went through, my purpose is written across my heart in the words of fire." Dracula. She is referring to Dracula's Blood Hunt issues 1 to 3. Then Miles Morales Spider-Man chimes in, "You're really going to do it? You're really going after your dad?" Bloodline, the daughter of Blade, responds to Spider-Man, "You don't understand, Spider-Man. I have to. I'm the only one with the power, so it's my responsibility." Miles Morales gently counters, "Actually, I do understand, but are you going to be okay?" Brielle, with a determined edge, replies, "Me? I'm cool. No, I'm cool. I'm sharp. I'm a blade. He made me one, my dad, and now he knows a blade is made to cut. Her father, Blade, has trained her for this very moment to face the hardest challenge of all, to confront and possibly kill her own father." The battle continues as Varnae uses the Dark Force to pin Thor down, gloating as he declares, "Of all the Avengers, it's you I despise the most, Thor. The rest are mere children, but you are eternal like me. Only we truly understand what it means to witness the end of the world." But as Varnae indulges in his monologue, Mjolnir arrives, landing in Thor's hand. Lightning cracks and thunder booms as Varnae is blasted backwards. Meanwhile, the rest of the Avengers continue to struggle in the intense battle. Vision, despite losing an arm, used the remaining solar energy he has left to try and take down the Blood Coven. However, the Avengers find themselves severely outnumbered. Fortunately, backup arrives just in time as Moon Knight and his army of undead acolytes join the battle. Back with Dr. Doom, now the new Sorcerer Supreme, he says, "I've mentioned I have been preparing for this eventuality. The magic used to create these creatures and the dark force they wield is extremely ancient, pre-fall Atlantean. It's a spell penned by the same hands that inked the Darkhold. In those days, this was powerful magic, and what we seek to undo is no less formidable." Dr. Doom continues, "The Latvian Archaeological Trust has recovered ancient Atlantean knowledge and artifacts from around the world. I have used the knowledge to devise a way to unravel Varnae's dark forces. With the might of the Sorcerer Supreme, I will weave the many colors of our magic together in a wizardry act never before seen. I will lead the ritual, focus our efforts, and save the world. All I ask of you is everything." Back on the battlefield, Moonlight leaps into the fray to rescue Vision, fighting fiercely without holding back. Bloodstorm 1, seeing the Avengers falter, sneers, "Weak, I will grant you one mercy, though it could hardly be called such. Before we drink your blood, we will let you watch. We will let you witness our master's triumphs." Varnae's triumph. Despite the arrival of reinforcements, Varnae's empowered by the Dark Force proves overwhelmingly powerful. Captain Marvel exclaims, "Nothing we do is scratching him. Everything we hit him with, the Dark Force swallows." Scarlet Witch adds, "He is drawing power of the entire dimension into himself. He is getting stronger by the moment." As all the Avengers, Moonlight, and soldiers are engulfed by the Dark Force, Varnae and Blade's body taunts, "I had only one weakness, Avengers, the girl Bloodline, but she's not here." At that moment, in a surprise attack from Bloodline and Dracula make their dramatic entrance. once. Bloodline defiantly declares, "No, I am here." Falling from above, Bloodline drives her sword straight into Blade's body. As all the Avengers watch in shock, their eyes wide with disbelief, Varnae sneers, "It's too late, child. It's not enough. My possession of your father has gone too long. This body is as much mine as it is his now. You are his bloodline, but you are not mine." Suddenly from above, Miles Morales, now also a vampire from Varnae, swings in shouting, "Then how about both of us?" Joining forces, Miles and Bloodline plunge the blade deeper into Varnae. Miles adds, "You turned me into a vampire. You did this to me, so that means I'm your bloodline too." Varnae screams in agony as black shadowy tendrils of dark force begins to pour from his mouth, his control weakening under the combined attack. With the blade embedded in Varnae, Dr. Doom senses that Varnae's concentration is shattered and his control is weakened. Now is the time to strike. Dr. Doom begins the incantation for the spell, and as he does, he breaches start to open, letting in light, reversing the darkness. As the sun begins to rise again, Dr. Doom successfully completes the miraculous spell, bringing sunlight back to the world. We see Darkhold emerge from Blade, and then suddenly the Scarlet Witch releases Varnae from Blade. Varnae is in disbelief and screams, "No, no, no." He does not understand what is happening. Blade falls to the ground seemingly dead, and Bloodline rushes to her father. In an emotional moment, Bloodline says, "Dad, Dad, I'm sorry." Blade responds, "No, you did right. You did what I taught you to do." As he bleeds out, Wanda traps Varnae, and Captain Marvel instructs Wanda, "Lock him down." Thor, Sam go after Vision and Moonlight, Tony and T'Challa to ensure Blade doesn't die. As Blade continues to fight for survival, they joke about Blade adding one more scar to his collection. Blade will live. Captain America addresses the Avengers, saying Moon Knight and Vision are okay. The Blood Coven fled as soon as Varnae went down. The Scarlet Witch reports Varnae is under control and Blade has been stabilized. Captain Marvel adds, "I'm not sure if it's what we did or what Strange was up to, but the dark force is receding." Captain Marvel continues, "We won, all of us." The Avengers look out at the rising sun in an iconic shot. Captain Marvel, the Scarlet Witch, Captain America, Iron Man, a still vampire Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Bloodline, an injured Vision, Black Panther, Thor, and Moon Knight. The Avengers stand tall, victorious. Varnae has been defeated, and the sun is shining once more. Doctor Strange says, "That was an incredible piece of magic, Victor. Now you promise your oath to return to me the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme." Dr. Doom replies, "Yes, my oath to surrender the office of Sorcerer Supreme back to you once I've saved the world. And I only just begun, Stefan." Dr. Doom, now the Sorcerer Supreme, declares, "Doom does nothing halfway. Let me show you what it means to save the world." As he speaks, he begins to shed the form of Doctor Strange, revealing his true, imposing presence. The question remains, how will Doom reshape the world with his newfound power? We return to Miles Morales, who remains a vampire, but now the sun no longer affects him as it once did. Dracula comments, "The sun has lost its sting. It seems our people have a new dawn ahead of them. Whether we like it or not, Miles Morales, Varnae's blood runs in both our veins, but for the first time, the children of the night need not fear for the day. When you save the world owes you a death." With Varnae defeated, the vampires, including Miles Morales, have become daywalkers, able to live in the sunlight. Suddenly, a priority broadcast interrupts every scream on the planet. Dr. Doom appears and declares the vampire threat is over, and this world, indeed all worlds, is safe once more. You have one man to thank, Earth's new Sorcerer Supreme, Victor Von Doom. Next, coming this November, a Sorcerer Supreme Doom in Earth 616 in the comic book title One World Under Doom.